Dr. Al-Maruf Alausa is Nigeria's Minister for Education, while Professor Prof Piwuna is the President of the Academic Staff Union of Nigerian Universities, ASU. What happened was that Professor Piwuna had said that ASU will embark on strike should government continue to renege on its promise to implement the 2009 agreement due in 2013. This is 2025. Bordering on welfare packages for federal universities workers, academic and non-academic, and implementation and increment of salaries. So the implementation of the 2009 agreement and increment of salaries for federal universities workers, academic and non-academic, were due in 2013. But since 2013 till date, 2025, ASU leadership has been getting a scam called End Academic Allowance on behalf of both academic and non-academic workers. And we have come to see that every strike has been ending with ASU leadership getting the fraud called End Academic Allowance since 2013 in lieu of implementation of the 2009 agreement, which includes welfare packages and increment of salaries. And to our dismay, ASU leadership got another fraudulent End Academic Allowance from the presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2025. While ASU members have been crying for the implementation of the 2009 agreement and the increment of salaries, properly so-called, due since 2013. So when Piwuna said ASU will go on strike if government continues to renege on its promise, we as ASU members became happy because we said, okay, maybe this time around ASU will not include the fraudulent End Academic Allowance, but focus on the implementation of the 2009 agreement and the increment of salaries properly so-called due since 2013, while ASU leadership continues to get the fraudulent End Academic Allowance to end every strike. Why? Because from the fraudulent End Academic Allowance, ASU leaders and the leaders of non-academic unions, together with their cronies, become automatic multimillionaire at the expense of the workers, academic and non-academic workers, due to the conspiracy with government. So that was the situation. But Dr. Al-Maruf Alausa countered Piwuna, Professor Prof Piwuna, the ASU president, saying that it was a fake news and that he was in communication with all the presidents of the unions, including ASU, that he has their phone number and they have his own phone number. So that is a confirmation of the conspiracy that I've been talking about since 2020 upon my research on ASU leadership and why it was ending every strike with getting the fraudulent and academic allowance since 2013. The same year that the implementation of the 2009 agreement was due, including increment of salaries and welfare packages. That was the very year ASU leadership, for the first time ever, started getting fraudulent and academic allowance from government in the name of ASU and other non-academic unions, with ASU leadership as the arrowhead of the fraud. So, not surprisingly, when Alausa countered Piwuna, he kept mum, because what they are hiding behind the curtains has come to light. That don't mind him, oh. It is a fake news, because we are in communication, we are in agreement. What other evidence are you looking for? But ASU members who have been following me testify. Professor Abiodun has been saying this since 2020, that the non-implementation of the 2009 agreement, including increment of salaries, is due to conspiracy between ASU leadership and federal government. And our expectation is that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, talking of renewed hope agenda, will not key into the fraud. But he has paid it. In 2025, he came to power in 2023, promising renewed hope agenda. So where is the renewed hope agenda when Tinubu keyed into the fraud called End Academic Allowance? But of course, he started off saying that the non-existent fuel subsidy is gone. So those who are talking of economic reform, fear of God is far from them. Real conscience is far from them. Morality is far from them. And Piwuna, that kept mum after Alausa let the cat out of the bag, betrays and confirms my allegation, for those who took it as allegation. But it's as clear as the moon. The very year the implementation of the 2009 agreement, including increment of salaries, was due, was the very year, for the first time ever, ASU leadership started getting fraudulent and academic allowance that was not calculated for individual workers and paid to the individual worker, but given to ASU to share with the non-academic unions, to share as they like. Well, of course, because it's not calculated for anybody, it's just a lump sum bribe given to ASU leadership to share. And they share it lopsidedly to their own advantage. So that has been the case. So it's not a deniable thing. It's a fact of history. It's a fact of history. Inhumanity of human beings to human beings. The fraud called Western education, Boko Haram. And so they are persecuting the Muslim community, saying Western education is haram, if only in Nigerian context. Fuel subsidy. What is fuel subsidy? A fraudulent concept. And academic allowance for what is not earned academic allowance, but a bribe agreed between government and ASUU leadership. Nigeria's apex academic workers union.